welcome back to my channel. So I've got 5 more family meal ideas for you, and this week we're rounding it off with a fakeaway Wagamamas for under £10. Hope you do enjoy the video. If you're new around here and enjoy content like this, do make sure to hit subscribe. But let's get cracking and see what all I made. For my first dish, I'm cooking pancetta cubes in some oil with 3 chopped cloves of garlic, and I've got 4 eggs with black pepper for this portion size, grated Parmesan cheese, and some also cream cheese, just to make a creamier carbonara. So very simply, once the pasta's cooked, I add it to the dish with the pancetta and the oils. I want to give it a really good mix through to distribute all those juices. I add in my grated Parmesan cheese alongside the eggs and a little bit of water that I've reserved from the pasta which I was cooking it in, and give everything a mix through, and it's as easy as that really. It's one of those dishes that is very easy to get on the table, about 15 minutes, and you usually have the ingredients in your cupboard as well. Just serving it with a crusty loaf of bread, and it's lighter on the meat. Next night, I'm using this peri peri hummus that I've picked up from Sainsbury's. If I'm not making my own hummus, this is definitely my go-to. It's punchy and spicy but mild enough for the children. So we've got lots of little picky bits for dinner here. Chicken tikka masala, grated cheese, veg to dip in the hummus with breadsticks, some honey mustard cocktail sausages, and then baked potatoes. I always sell this to my kids as a baked potato station, but usually it's a way of using up bits and pieces that we've had left over from maybe picnics during the week or barbecues, and everyone can help themselves and just have a little bit of everything, and I find the kids will eat some veg as well. The next evening I tried out this new recipe. It's honey mustard sausage rice, and it was all in one pan, which really appealed to me. Nice and easy. So I used these deluxe little hickory pork sausages, popped them in the oven. I was actually impressed with these. I'm usually a butcher sausage person, but I would definitely go for these again. So the basis of the dish is using up veg. You can go all frozen. So I've got peas and sweet corn, and I cubed up some onions and red pepper that I'd left in the house. So giving it a good mix through with the honey and the mustard, and this is what's going to give you the flavour for the rice. Once the rice is cooked, I just add it into the pan and then give it a really good mix through. I add in sausages just roughly chopped up. This is quite deceptive, it is very filling, and I served it with little hot baguettes. The kids loved this. I wasn't so fussed, but I will make it again for them because they ate it all up. The next evening's a favourite in our house, and it's meatballs in tomato sauce. Now I make these in batches, so it's handy for me just to lift out of the freezer and make the sauce fresh that day. We went with tomato sauce and some spaghetti, and everyone really enjoys it in our house. I actually asked over on Instagram what's the go-to for your meal plan every week when you ask the children, and there was tons of pasta, pizzas, curries. Which brings me on to my next dish, which is a chicken katsu curry. So I'm going to use 2 carrots, 5 cloves of garlic, 2 onions, 2 tablespoons of flour, 2 teaspoons of garam masala, 4 teaspoons of curry powder, some soy sauce, honey, and 600 ml of chicken stock. So I will leave that link down below in the description box if you want to try it out, but it's fairly straightforward. So I've chopped up all the veg there, the garlic, onions and carrots, and you don't even need to peel it as long as you've washed it, because this will be processed down later, and we're softening it in some oil. Once it's softened down, I go in with my tablespoons of flour, and this is what's going to thicken and create a sauce later on. So giving a good mix through to pick up all those flavours from the bottom of the pan, then adding in our garam masala and also my curry powder. I've went for a korma mild curry powder because I am feeding the children. If you want to put a bit more heat into it, you could up your garam masala as well. So I'm keeping this relatively mild and fruity, just like Wagamama's traditional katsu curry. Giving it a good mix through again, making sure it's evenly distributed before adding in the chicken stock. Now once this chicken stock's added, we're going to create a thicker sauce, but because the flour's there, you want to give it a really good mix so that we're thickening it without getting lumps in the actual sauce. So a good mix round, and then I'm adding in my honey and then some soy sauce as well. If you want to go for a healthier version, you can actually chop up an apple and cook that down with your carrots, onions and garlic at the start. If you just want it to be less sweet, I'm going for honey. It's nice and easy for me today. I do a couple of different variations on this, and I've probably shown you a different one on the channel before too. But effectively, once it's thickened and completely softened down, then we can just get to work with pulping it all down. I personally like to keep the veg in it so that we're not wasting it, but some people prefer to put a sieve and take out all the veg. But I actually think the carrots and the onions keep the sweetness in the sauce, so I'm pulping it all down until I get a smooth paste. Meanwhile, I've been making the chicken as the sauce has been cooking. You've seen me do this quite a few times, breaded chicken or battered chicken, so it's quite easy. All we do is flatten down your chicken, so you can either butterfly it, making it a scallop. Basically, I flattened it with the rolling pin. Then I'm just tossing it in some flour, and then we go next using the same left hand there into the egg mixture, giving it a good mix round, and then onto the plate of breadcrumbs. Because this is a Japanese curry, I'm sticking with the Japanese panko breadcrumbs. They're definitely that little bit crispier, but you can go for any breadcrumbs that you do already have in the house. Once that's done, you want to put this either in the oven or a deep fat fryer until it's cooked right through in the middle and nice and crispy like this. And then all I'm going to do is create some sides, fairly straightforward, but just to give us a bit more of the restaurant feel. I made a simple tempura mix. I've blanched some cauliflower, tender stem broccoli, and I've some sugar snap peas instead of edamame, and this is just going to make it a bit more like how we eat in the restaurant. I've got these pre-done gyoza, I never say that right, but basically they're duck dumplings, and you get them in this bag. It's very cost effective. You get about 30 in the Asian supermarket, and basically they will all be done while the chicken's finishing off. I've plated it all up. As you can see, it's not just quite presented like Wagamama's, but it definitely tastes just as good. Do make sure to try this recipe, and if you do, tag me in over on Instagram so I can see how it turned out. What I would advise is definitely batch cooking the sauce, and a great little tip is to even buy pre-bought breaded chicken and take your sauce out of the freezer, and then you've got a really simple meal if you want to do it a bit more takeaway style. So these are our sides. How they've turned out are tempura veg, and then the sugar snaps with garlic and some sesame seeds there. This is something that we eat quite frequently in the restaurant, and we do enjoy the restaurant experience, but it's quite pricey at least £60 for us. This has come in at roughly £10 and doesn't compromise on the taste. So hopefully you enjoyed the video, guys. Give it a thumbs up if you did, and I'll see you in the next video.